Hi there, this is Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and this is the Kerbal Space Program. Okay, so, right, what have we got? We have got Pallas, that's actually Pallas 6 at the top there, which unfortunately still has the design flaw of an extra fuel tank accidentally shoved in the middle of that area there, which I can't fix right now. So Pallas 6, big tug, and this is the Pallas 8 transfer stage, which has still got a fair amount of fuel in it. So what we're going to do, right, now, okay, so I have that. I have some things I want to do. Specifically, I want to grab 2 sets of waypoints from contracts. These ones there, and that one there. Now, kind of my options. I was thinking through my options. Option number 1 is to set up an orbit that'll take me over there, and that's going to be less delta V because I'm going to do a less. I'm going to do less inclination change if I just go for those ones. I'm just trying to have a think that through. I had a brief thought of maybe doing my inclination change here and then having an orbit that does something like that, but I don't think that's going to work. So basically, the other possibility is I go for that one while everything is attached to the transfer stage, and thus I have lots of extra fuel. And then I go around and I get that one. So option 1. I land the lander here. I get those points. If there's and so I'll transfer fuel from the transfer stage to the lander, and if there's anything left in the lander, great, I'll take that back to Athena 1. If not, I'll just junk it. But I did have this idea of maybe doing getting an orbit that takes in both of those, and then do that one in midair, and then come back round and do those. The other option is the first option, which I did not finish saying. I don't know what is wrong with me today. Option 1, land there with as fueled up a Pallas 6 as I can manage. Then when I decide it's time to go for orbit, I aim that way and get that one. And then hopefully I do have enough delta V left over to get back to Athena 1 on its own power. But so long as I can get those points and get back into orbit, it's going to be okay. If I can get those 3, that's going to be a whole mission done, which is a thing I need to do. Yeah, these are all So those 3 missions are nicely together. I'm just going to quickly check. Quickly check. POE. I should be checking. POE. It's kind of important that I'm going to make sure that I've got I'm going to be getting the right kind of science out there. So this green one, I've done all of them except that one, so I can get that one, so that's fine. So I'm looking for this thing, the POE. I'm not quite sure, because if it needs surface samples, then that's a completely different beastie. Oh, there we go. Take seismic reading. Okay, so those are all seismic readings, and Pallas 6, I believe, has got seismic on it. It would be Gravioli that I don't have. Yeah, so it's got a seismic, so that's fine. So I can do those. That's the thing I needed to check. Because it's possible, some of these are surface samples, and obviously I need an actual Kerbal on the surface to do those. And I either need to make a traditional rover with wheels, or I need to make a grasshopper lander to get those ones. And perfectly honest, because they're on the poles, I'll want to start a whole new mission for those, really, because if I'm going from Athena to do it, then that's going to require a lot of delta V to do the inclination change. To get down there. Whereas, if I send a whole new mission from Kerbin, a very small adjustment, either at Kerbin or here, will enable me to have a very a big inclination change, when I get to the moon, so that I'll be able to do a polar orbit and thus get to where I want to be. So I think my plan is going to be do an inclination change aimed 90 degrees away from the blue things which are there, so I'm going to do my inclination change here. Thing to remember is that if you do an inclination change like that, you're changing your you're putting energy in. That is not what I wanted. You're putting energy into the orbit, and so you have to adjust it. Now, in theory, but that part is just, yeah, take that. 81597. In theory, I really want to put my periapsis there, because the O-berth effect says that the faster you're going, the more efficiently you change your delta V. But fundamentally, I can't be bothered. I'm also not being very efficient anyway with my delta V, in that I'm going to be, I'm slowing to a stop and then dropping like a stone. So that's not really terribly clever the way I'm going to be doing it. So I'm already not really particularly considering efficiency. So, oh no. I still have not done something that I should have done, which is oh, that's entertaining and really bad. You can see it's doing the way the RCS is working is doing quite crazy things to my orbits. Wow, what is going on here? My ship's gone mental. Oh, hang on. I think I know what's going on. I know what's going on. There's a bug in KOS, which I've encountered before. Oh my lord. God, that should have stopped. There's a bug in KOS which basically says that if you are controlling your craft pointing the wrong way and you lock steering, then I think we're vaguely getting under control here. Then it just doesn't know. Oh, the roll goes mad. It just goes completely mental, as you can see. And I don't know whether it's literally the probe core that's the problem. Or whether it's where the computer core is pointing. So I've got two computer cores on this. I'm suddenly thinking both of them might be the wrong way around. Trying to remember which way is considered forward on this thing. Okay, let's just do this one manually. So as you can see, everything's just completely balked. My orbit is now different to what it was when I set the maneuver node, which means everything's in fact gone horribly wrong. So I'm just gonna have to do this one manually because I have a sneaking suspicion all my computer cores are pointing the wrong way. Now it might be that it's simply that it's more to do with. Stop being a pain. There's more to do with which way the probe body is pointing, and oh, I don't know, to be perfectly honest. So it looks like I'm not going to be able to do this. Oh, for God's sake, there we go. That's close enough. It looks like I'm not going to be able to do this using my cunning things. But what I can do, no, and what I did get, which was useful, was it's going to take we'll call it 4 seconds. So that's at least I have an idea of how long it's going to take, which is something I did not have, information I did not have. So maybe what I need to do is make a little routine that just tells me the burn time. Go or what? The good lord. And then doesn't try and doesn't try and then doesn't try and maneuver me towards the node or anything like that. So the reason this is happening, I think, obviously, as far as this section is concerned, this way is up, right? So rocket is pointing down, so the thing is pointing all the way up. So as far as the probe core and the computer core on this is concerned, this way is up. Obviously, you can tell, as far as the lander is concerned, this way is up. But according to this bit in the middle, because I docked with this pointing forwards as far as that tug was concerned, right? So it might be as simple that I can control from that docking port and everything will be fixed, but I am not sure. Or possibly I can control from there and everything will be fixed, but quite frankly, might as well just do it manually. So I'm going to add an alarm. I'm going to give myself. I decided it was 4 seconds, didn't I? So I'm going to give myself 10 seconds. Not 4 seconds. Give myself 10 seconds at the other end. Just fast forward through. And in fact, I may not be able to fast forward that fast because I'm quite low down. Now, the problem with KOS and orientation is a known issue, and that's only with the what's so-called the cooked controls. They have raw controls, and cooked controls is kind of a back formation from raw controls. Raw controls are, I'm literally setting. Wow, so my tummel's gone down all the way down to 1 because I'm so low down. Yeah, because I'm below 5,000 meters. I'm just going to quickly check that I'm not going to smash into the goddamn ground. I'm going to smash into the goddamn ground. We have a word for this, and that word is bloody irritating. Well, okay, I'm not locked anyway, so I can that means, well, so I might as well get rid of that node. It's not going to apply in literally just a second, because I'm going to smash it into the goddamn ground just now. See, I was doing fine, my orbit was fine, and then I tried to use RCS to do some maneuvering, and it all went wrong. Right, so now I'm not going to smash into the goddamn ground, at least I don't think I am. Maybe amongst the many scripts I need to make is one that actually checks and says, you know, as things currently stand, I've had a look around your orbit, and I don't think you're going to smash into the goddamn ground at any point. It's all a question of you know, this orbit. I mean, the moon is, I don't know how long it is, there is quite a lot of it, even though it's a lot smaller than Kerbin. There's still quite a lot of it, and there are, you know, how much detail do you want to do? Which is, how long do you want this script to take to kind of go around? Do you want to? Would 100 samples be enough? Do I need to do 1,000 samples? Because you always have that worry that you kind of got a sample here and a sample there, and the mountain that you're going to crash into is right in the middle and isn't detected. Right, so let's redo that maneuver node again. I'm good at this. What? Oh! Testicles. Let's do that maneuver node again. I actually had one of the. I'd accidentally hit one of the radials instead of what I wanted to do, which was just hit the retrograde to bring the carrying out system, or the apparatus system. I think this is something I need to be aware of, and I need to keep in mind more often. That if a significant chunk of the maneuvering ability is from Werner engines, they seem to have a bit more oomph than RCS, and they can, and also I need to be careful. I think it's actually specifically when you've got unbalanced RCS. I suspect that's the problem. Because if you've got RCS at both ends of the thing, right? It's going to, when you turn, it's going to fire at this end, and that's going to start to send you that way. But it's also going to fire at this end, which is going to wants to send you that way, and of course that'll just give you a turn. But overall, you don't change much. Whereas if your RCS is only at one end, then when you RCS to turn, you'll end up pushing the whole craft that way, and that can really perturb your orbit. Which may not be a good thing. Right, now, seeing as I do not believe I'm going to smash in the goddamn ground, I'm going to do an experiment. I am going to click on this, and I'm going to control from here, and I'm going to lock steering to next. Can I just do next node? I can't remember. Would help if I could spell node. There you go. So I'm just going to unlock the steering. going to put the full stop at the end of it. Run calc, ISP, run X node. That's right. Oh, heaven's sake, what is wrong with me? Right, no, is that just going to start spinning again? No. That is going to do what I think it should do. Now, I do notice that I've got a lot more delta V in this node. I'm wondering if I should be concerned. I do not buy. Okay, should be let's get rid of that and let's add a whole new one. Again, we'll give it 10 seconds. Probably should get more now, I think. The moon is quite close, but I do not believe it is sufficiently close that I'm going to smash into things. Far side crater. I wonder. Hang on. Oh, missed it. The biome was very briefly far side crater, so I was wondering whether it would have been worth trying to grab some science. But I think you just count as in space. Don't know that you get extra biomes when you're in space. In the Midlands. So what I want to do is I want to get this maneuver node done, and then I'm going to refuel the lander, and then I'm going to decide what I'm going to do with the bottom half of all this, because I might just... It is going to depend on how much fuel this will have left when, and then how much fuel this is going to take. That seems like far too much effort for what I'm trying to achieve. But I've kind of vaguely worked out what's going on. Anyway, I was talking about raw controls and cooked controls. Cooked controls is point me to my next node, or point me to target, or point up, or point prograde. Lock steering too. But you also have raw controls, which is essentially set your throttle to somewhere between 0 and 1. Set your yaw control somewhere between -1 and +1. I think +1 is +1 is hitting the D key, and -1 is hitting the A key. You can also set your pitch. That's the equivalent of W and S, and then again that's also from -1 to +1, and you get rolled. And so you can imagine that's more like a joystick. So you're going forward and back. And they apparently work just fine and dandy, even with the which way you're pointing confusion. Let's watch this on the map view and see how closely we get what I want. Get rid of that as well. Go away. So apparently the raw controls work a lot better. So what I could possibly do is, see, look at that. Isn't that lovely? What I could possibly do with is creating my own lock steering 2 type scripts. Why is that panel? Oh no, I think I know why that panel is retracted. Somewhere on Pallas 6 there's an action group, and some or all of the solar panels are in the action groups, and because I've also bound action groups to various things when I do hover sprint, That panel in particular, I think, keeps zooming in and out, popping in and out. Yeah, so I could make my own lock steering to commands if I really felt the need. Let's create a maneuver node here, and just this is purely to set an alarm clock. And we'll give it 10 seconds. And then I'm just going to remove the node. So the alarm clock will remain. Yeah, so I could make my own using maybe PID controllers or something. Yeah, not sure how well I can be bothered. Actually, this is a pointless thing that I'm doing, so I'm not going to do it. I like pointing retrograde when I do these things. I like kind of, because I'm about to land, so I like it that the idea that I'm already pointing retrograde, but it's completely irrelevant. Because apart from anything else, when I lock steering to surface retrograde, it'll almost certainly do a big turny thing anyway, so kind of pointless. Right, so I've got about 6 minutes to go, so let's just forward that along. Yeah, I can make my own lock steering with PID controllers. So set the yaw control the right amount to point to where I want to point, and it should also do station keeping, so it will keep on changing if the thing it's trying to point to keeps changing. And similarly with the pitch control and rotation control. I don't really have time for that now. I'm also going to quickly check what version I'm running. 17.1, 0.17.1, or 0.17.1. I'm not sure whether it's 0.17 or 0.17. I think 0.17. I've done absolutely nothing with 0.17. I've not rewritten all my things to use functions, despite the fact that I spent a lot of time and effort with the previous pre-function 0.16. I spent a lot of time and effort making fake functions, and faking the functionality of functions. Yeah, so theoretically, making everything into functions would be really, really handy. I've used a bit of the part highlighting because that's fun. You can make things turn green, which is always endlessly entertaining. Do come close. Alright, so I'm about 10 seconds out. I might as well, I think I just want to run land. Oh, hell's nuts. Oh, there's... What am I doing? I forgot to transfer fuel. I'm an umpty. Oh, and those things get right in the way. I do want to have a quick check to make sure they're all T400s, FL T400s, and not the T200 that's in there somewhere. There we go, and then we just hit that out and out. And see how much we've got left. If I don't have enough to get the big tug back to Athena, that's going to be interesting. I mean, this does have the monoprop engines, and it's got monoprop engines around it. Oh, I don't know that I've got enough fuel to do what I want to do. I kind of felt I was going to have more fuel. Hmm. I mean, if the thing as a whole has 1779 meters per second of delta V, which is what I'm being told here, now that I've taken that, this should have more than that, because obviously, and that's going to be enough to land and take off. Is it going to be enough to land? No, I'm not. Oh, I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. Because my problem in the minute is, it's not showing up here actually. I've got very little money, and it says that I've got no money, but I think this is just broken at the minute. I don't think it shows. I don't know why it's not showing how much money. But I've got like 2,800 Kerbal bucks, which is not enough to achieve anything. I can't. I will not even be able to take off. I won't be able to launch any new craft. So I rather desperately need to get at least one contract and complete a contract. I must say, I'm actually being a little silly, because I do have an entire whole other land. I've got Pallas VIII itself, which is fully fueled. So I'm perhaps being so I'm possibly being a bit precious at this point. But I don't want so what I don't want to do is end up with Pallas VI stranded again. Right, so there's that. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to reposition everything. It's a bit too far. Now the question is, at what height am I going to be when I do that? So let's grab this. Right, so I'm actually not going to be high enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my apoapsis as close to that as I can. Going to quickly do the am I going to smash into the ground again? Doesn't look like it. And so then I'm going to change my inclination again, and then I'm going to burn down here to raise my apoapsis. So basically I'm going to use this setup that I have at the minute to grab this, get the contract, hopefully get some money, and that way I shouldn't have to worry about actually running out of cash, which is my current problem. So we're going to undock. We're going to control, because I've got a core here. So the main thing is I can rename the vessel. Now officially debris, even though I'm just going to call it space junk. I could possibly save it, but I can't be bothered. There's various things I could possibly try and do. The main thing is I've got like solar panels, and I've got a processor core and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually it's not just a big lump of junk like the other one. The other one was literally just a fuel tank and a rocket. So I'm actually being a bit profligate just throwing it away, but I really haven't set this up. And I don't have enough delta V to fix it. So put SES back on this. And again, I'm going to make sure I'm controlling from here. So I'm just going to I'm just testing to make sure that I am pointing the right way, because if I'm not, then if I try and lock steering to prograde, it'll go mental. But it's not gone mental, so that's fine. It's taking its own sweet time to point to prograde, but that's a different problem. Well, I'm actually thinking I should also separate the big tug and see if I can get the big tug back on its own. Well, no, we'll wait until the next. Oh no, that's aggravating. I have to do the maneuver node again, because it looks like the maneuver nodes. Looks like the maneuver node went with this one. Or just, oh well, actually possibly the maneuver node stayed with this one. Well, isn't that aggravating? So the maneuver node stayed with the space jump, but not this one. So I have to do the maneuver node again. But hey, that's nice. I don't mind that quite so much. So about 90 degrees. Oh, why don't I do it from this side? Because I'm going to get there first. So let's go about there, and then grab retrograde, which is actually pointing this way. Retrograde to pull the way. I want to put the apoapsis or periapsis, whichever one of those markers that is. I want to put that on top of, or as close as. So again, that's about 8K, which is not what I want. So I'm going to put another. Where am I going to smash it down? Doesn't look like it. Okay, sweet. So I'll do that maneuver node, and then when I get to that one, I will point. When I get down to the is this the periapsis? This is the periapsis. When I get to periapsis, I'll raise that up. So I'll be the right amount, and I'll be able to get that, and then everything will be fine. My delta V is actually enormous, so I'm possibly being way too cautious, but I would actually rather be cautious at this point. Having just junked a whole lot of my spacecraft, I'd rather be cautious at this particular juncture. Anyway, so that was 40 minutes. That's nearly 40 minutes of me not really having achieved much. But I've not destroyed anything, which is an improvement. Better than I normally manage, I have to say. And so I should be eventually on the route to finally getting that. Finally getting it for the second time, actually, but never mind. I actually have quite a lot of delta V now that I've chucked away half the spacecraft. I don't know if it might be counting the monochrome, I'm not sure. But I'm going to grab that, and then I'm going to take the whole kit and caboodle and rendezvous with Pallas. And that is going to be next time. So if you've been enjoying, please hit like and subscribe. Please join us at nearlyenoughdice.com. You can also find Nearly Enough Dice on Twitter and Facebook. And finally, until next time, reach for the stars.